Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Amazing Seller Podcast. This is episode number 103 and session number 26 of Ask Scott. So today, we're going to be answering more of your questions. Now, if you guys are tuning in for the very first time and you don't know what this means, it means that I'm going to answer live questions or questions that came in from voicemail, but I'm going to answer them live here on the podcast, and they were submitted by you, the listener. So if you have a question and you wanted it featured on one of these upcoming shows, all you have to do is head over to theamazingseller.com/ask. And you can leave a question there. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to answer some of these questions. Before I do, though, I did want to give a little shout out to our TAS community that is growing really, really fast. We're up over 12,000 community members in there right now, some TASers, as we're kind of calling ourselves now. And I wanted to give a little shout out to Ben Grover. Ben posted this in the Facebook group and says, "It's really happening. First 100 units went to the UPS store today. Next 100 should be here in a few days. Time to go back and listen to the Launch Sequence podcast and take the next steps. Thank you to this group for keeping me motivated." Very, very awesome, Ben, by the way. And thank you so much for sharing that, but also wanted to highlight Ben because he took action and he's sharing it within the community. And the community, oh my gosh, there's like 82 likes and just a bunch of comments, and everyone's coming in there and just saying, great job, way to go. And I can't stress it enough that, being surrounded with like-minded people and people that can motivate you is so, so important. I recently just did a Periscope on this and talked all about mindset, and it really does play a big role in our success in anything that we do. I mean, it could be weight loss, right? I mean, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're trying to get in shape, or if you're maybe trying to run the next marathon, maybe you want to surround yourself with people that are running marathons, right? I mean, it's the same idea. So I can't stress that enough. If you're not part of our TAS community, you're going to want to head over to that specific group and request to join, and then we'll go ahead and approve you. And you can find that link at theamazingseller.com/FB. F as in Frank, B as in boy. So Ben Grover, awesome job. All right. So that's what I wanted to highlight there. Before we do answer the first question, though, I did also want to kind of read a little email that I received from one of my customers, actually a customer from Amazon. And you guys may or may not have heard, depending on how long you've been listening to the show, but my email sequence that I send out. And I give this away totally free. And if you guys haven't gotten that yet, then you're going to want to probably do that. That's theamazingseller.com/email. And you'll find my feedback/review follow-up sequence there. But this came in, and I thought it was really, really important to highlight this for you. I wanted to share it on this session because I figured I could, because this is kind of like a little bit of a mixed bag of what we talk about on this show. But really, I wanted to show you that sending out personalized emails to your customers can really, really make a huge impact on feedback, on reviews, but just the relationship that you have with a customer. All right. So I'm just going to read this. It's really, really short, but it just shows you that the personal message that I sent and that I have automated really does make an impact on the customer. All right. So here's what it said. "Lisa, thank you so much for your email." Now, let me pause there for a second. The reason why this person is saying Lisa is because Lisa is the one that sends these emails. Lisa is my wife. All right. So basically, this is what it said. "Lisa, thank you so much for your email. I saw this in my inbox, but I assumed it was a computer-generated message." And that was in quotes, computer-generated message, which it most likely is, yet just a more personal, another quotes, one. Okay. So just a more personal one. "So good for you," smiley face. "I did not read it until I got the follow-up one just now. So came back to look at this one that you sent earlier. Thank you so much for being a real person." So right there, if that doesn't show you that the emails that you write do get read if you are more on a personal level rather than being a big box store type email messaging system, right? Being real. And there's ways to do this in your messaging. So when they do respond, now we can literally go in and we can type a message back directly to this person. That's how it works. So just to kind of give you a little bit of that recap, if you guys haven't paid attention to what I've done in the past and what I've said that I do, is I reach out with a email to my customers, and this is after the order has been placed and it has been shipped. And then it just basically, says, hey, just want to let you know that it's on the way. And if there's anything wrong, let me know. We're a small business. We want to make sure that you're happy, because if you're happy, we're happy, all of that stuff. So, and I go through all of that stuff in that sequence. So you can find that at theamazingseller.com/email. All right. But it really, really does work. And then from there, once they respond back with something like this, then we can manually type in a message directly to them. They may say something like, yeah, the product really helped me with this because my father was in the hospital, or something like that, right? Depending on what your product is. And then you could respond back to, hey, I'm so glad that you emailed us, and I'm so glad that it helped through your father's surgery, whatever, right? So you can personalize that message back to them and really type that message. The first ones are just kind of to start the conversation, if you will. So that's how they work. But I just wanted to share this with you because I thought it was really, really important. And this isn't the first one I've received. I've received other ones like this, but it just goes to show you they do get read and they do come across more personal if you write them that way. All right. So, all right. We are going to now start answering some questions here that were submitted by you, the listener. So let's go ahead and listen to the first question, and then I'll go ahead and I'll give you my answer.
Hi, Scott. This is Jim. I just have a question for you about creating a subscriber list. You mentioned method 2 in your step-by-step FBA launch plan, which is great, but you mentioned step 2 or method number 2 to build using something like lead pages or something like that. But what if you don't have a website specifically for your product or for your company? What if you're just marketing through Facebook and Amazon to get people to buy your product? I don't know how you would be able to do a lead page unless you also have web hosting set up. And we already have a domain, but we don't have a website set up. So I was wondering how you would address something like that.
Hey, Jim, thanks so much for the question. And I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about list building and capturing emails and all of that stuff. So glad to answer this. Now, I think that you might be misunderstanding the process or how actually lead pages works. Now, if anyone is listening to this and they haven't heard me talk about like collecting emails and all of that stuff, I have an episode and actually has a screenshot showing you kind of like the flow if you were to use like an insert card. The same thing would apply if you're running an ad to a landing page, which Jim is talking about lead pages, which I've mentioned that I use. But if you wanted to check out kind of like a diagram on collecting an email and kind of bringing them through like an email sequence, you can find that at theamazingseller.com/24. And that'll show you kind of like my diagram and kind of how I go about doing things. All right. So the thing is that I think that you're misunderstanding is that you do not have to host a web page using lead pages. Lead pages is the host. Okay. Now you can host a page from lead pages if you export that as an HTML file, and then you can host it on your own web platform. You don't have to. And actually, they recommend that you really don't if you're trying to collect emails, because their server is going to be a lot faster than yours. So it'll load a lot faster. And I mean, some of you may or may not know, but when a page loads slow, you'll lose people. So it loads quicker, and also it's hosted. It's hosted on their server, which is going to be a lot more reliable and quicker. So that I think you were misunderstanding. You definitely will use their server. So you don't need a website. If you're just starting, I mean, when I first started with this, I didn't have a website for this business. I was just using a landing page in lead pages to collect the lead. Once I would collect the lead or the email address, it would go into my Aweber account. Now you have to have those two components. You need like something that's going to capture the email, a form of some kind. And, lead pages makes it really, really nice and really easy to be able to do that. But then you need something like MailChimp or Aweber or Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, any of those. You need an autoresponder capture, platform or software. I use Aweber. I also use Infusionsoft, but for this particular example, I use Aweber. So then what you do is you just go into your lead pages, and then you find your list that you created in Aweber or your form, and then you just connect the two. And then it's going to start collecting leads through that lead page, but they're going to end up inside of your Aweber account. Then inside your Aweber account, then you're able to start sending out messages on your behalf. And here's the thing. Let's say that you just have a Facebook fan page. Well, you can use that as your content placement. Okay. If you don't want to, have a blog right away or a website or anything, you could collect the lead, have it go into Aweber, and then you can create a piece of content, something that's going to be useful to your audience that you want to deliver on your Facebook page. And then you can just link to that post on your Facebook page, your fan page. So that's how you could do all that. And then you can take people from your fan page, direct them over to a landing page that's going to have an offer on it. And then from there, you're going to collect their email address. Even though they're on your Facebook page, you want to get them on your email list. The other way that we've talked about it in the past is you can take a Facebook ad and you can drive people to a landing page where you're going to give them a garlic press that's worth $29.95. You're going to give it to them for $1.95 or maybe $1 for the first 25 people that sign up. And then you're going to collect those email addresses and they're going to get dumped into your Aweber account. So I hope that makes sense. And again, like I said, if you want to kind of see the nuts and bolts of taking a landing page and connecting it to Aweber and kind of seeing like a diagram on the flow chart, then you can head over to theamazingseller.com/24 and you can kind of see that. If you wanted to see the resources that I use, Aweber, lead pages, all of that stuff, you can head over to the resources page at theamazingseller.com/resources. And of course, the show notes will have all of these links there as well. And this episode is 103. So you can find them on the podcast or on the blog. That will be theamazingseller.com/103. All right. So I hope that's answered your question. It's really, really powerful to do this too. If you guys are just starting out, you do not need a website. All you need is something like lead pages and Aweber, and you're off to the races. All right. So let's go ahead and listen to the next question, and I'll give you my answer.
Hey, Scott, my name is Jason. Thanks so much for doing this great show. I really do appreciate all the hard work you put into helping everyone here, including us. And that brings me to my question. So for this particular question, this is for one of our Amazon seller accounts for a business where we manufacture our own unique socks. They're specialty socks. And we're set up with our own factory and shipping. And right now we're trying to do merchant fulfillment. Later on, we want to switch to FBA, but we're just testing the waters with merchant fulfillment. So the problem we're having is we're not winning the buy box, which means we cannot do Amazon advertising, which is sort of a problem because Amazon advertising seems to be really the ticket to getting things moving. So the problem is we can't win the buy box, even though these are our own listings pages. And obviously no one's competing with us. These are our own product and no one else sells this. But still, when you look at our listings, it doesn't allow you to just add the item to the cart. You have to click to view the sellers, and we're the only seller. But the worst part of all this is we cannot run Amazon advertising. So we contacted Amazon seller support, and they came back with a tricky answer. They said that we have to wait 90 days, which seems strange because it seems like plenty of other people are getting a buy box on their listings well before 90 days. Otherwise, you'd really struggle without Amazon advertising. So they said we'd have to wait 90 days, but then they also said, and every month we update featured merchants so that, if whenever the category person reviews the listings, you might be featured. So we're kind of hearing two answers from Amazon. And anyway, we'd just like to get your feedback, maybe see if you have any ideas about this. Do you know anything about getting to the buy box with merchant fulfilled listings? And is there some tricky way around this? Do we need to just get lots of sales and reviews so we can become featured merchants? Anyway, any tips, advice, or suggestion would be much appreciated. Again, my name is Jason. Thanks so much for doing the show.
Hey, Jason, thanks so much for the question. It sounds like you have a really great opportunity here. And I'm a little confused, though. So I'm going to try to give you an answer on what I think and, what I think you're trying to say, and then maybe just a couple of things that I would probably try to do. First off, I'm not really sure how you're not winning the buy box if you're the manufacturer and no one else is able to sell your product. Usually, that means that you are the seller. Now, if you're hijacked, that's totally different, and that's a whole nother animal that we're not going to talk about right now. But I'm assuming you created the listing, okay? You created this brand new listing with your unique product, and the key word here is unique product, private labeled, or that's labeled with your manufacturer, with you as the sole creator and producer of these socks. Then I don't know how anyone else could be competing with you. The only way is if you had like a brand that was being wholesaled by 5 other, suppliers, and then other people were selling the same brand. That's the only way that I could see that happening. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe someone listening knows more than I do about that, but for as far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to think of it like you're a private labeler, let's say, that you're labeling and you're branding your own product. It's unique. You listed it yourself. And then from there, the only way that someone would be able to sell against you and win the buy box is if they had that exact brand, okay? And if the only way they could have that same brand is if they either copied you and put your brand on it, and now you've got a hijacking situation, or if you are wholesaling it to other people and then they're selling it on Amazon and you're selling too. That's the only way that I can see that happening. The other thing that you talked about was you wanted to test the waters with fulfilled by merchant. Well, if you're the supplier and you're the manufacturer, why not just take 100 socks, or sets of socks, or 100 units, ship them into FBA, and let it work that way. That may be the other issue, is FBM, FB, basically fulfilled by merchant or fulfilled by Amazon, usually get a little bit more, I feel anyway, you get a little bit more of a bump when you're fulfilling by Amazon. But I'm not quite clear as to how you couldn't be winning the buy box if you are the manufacturer and no one else out there has access to these, unless they're copying them and they're putting their name on it, and that's a hijack situation. And then I'm sure you're brand registered and all of that stuff, but that's where I'm a little confused. So I'm not 100% certain as to why that would be happening unless you are wholesaling and you're selling something that other people have access to and they can sell on the same listing. That's the only way that you would be competing with the buy box, in my estimation. Anyway, so I would say if I was you, I would, and I wish I was you in this case, because I would be able to then, control all my inventory, control all of that stuff, the listing, all of that. So to me, I would take 100 units, 500 units and ship them into FBA and start selling them. That's what I would personally do. So I don't know if that was helpful. I hope it was, but it sounds like you have a really great opportunity here, and I would definitely take advantage of that, because I think once you get stuff, products listed inside of Amazon, you're going to see that it could take on a whole another side of your business, which would probably be eye-opening to you. So good luck to you, and keep me posted on your progress. All right. So let's go ahead and listen to another question, and I'll give you my answer.
Hey, Scott, this is Russ. I had called or contacted you once before. You were nice enough to answer my question then. I really appreciate it. So I figure I would ask another question now, since you were pretty good about getting back to me. I really wish there was a way that you could, send me an email to let me know which episode that I'm going to be on so I could get the question answered. So just a little bit of a piece of kind of a wish for you for the future. But my question involves getting customer feedback. I finally got some, and I'm not sure how to respond. I actually got, it's actually seller feedback. It actually turned into really more of a product review, and it was a good score. She gave me a four stars. So my first question was, should I even have that removed? It was a good enough score, so I'm inclined to leave it. But because it wasn't really seller feedback, I was wondering if you thought maybe I should have that removed. So that's the first question. The second question is really, how do I communicate with that buyer? It looks like I can either click respond to feedback, or I can click contact buyer and click on the client's name. If I click on the client's name, it doesn't appear that Amazon allows me to send her a link to show her where I should really have her be putting a product review in. And I figure that's the easiest way to allow her to do that. I'm not sure if they allow me to do it on the respond to feedback part of it. So I guess really the question is it really respond to feedback part of the Seller Central, or is it the contact buyer section? So if you could answer that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Russ, thanks so much for the question and for the suggestion. I guess we have a little suggestion box now. So thanks for that as well. And the tricky thing with that, though, is I'm answering 4 questions a week. Then I have to go back and find their emails. Sometimes people don't leave their emails, and it's just another task that I have to do that's pertaining to this podcast. So to kind of give you a little bit of an inside look, I would need a little more help with that. So maybe in the future we could do that. that, and we could have someone on our team here do it. We're a pretty small team right now, me and Brody. So yeah, I mean, obviously I have a few other people that are helping with the show notes and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll definitely consider that stuff. But it's another reason for you guys to listen to the shows, right? You got to listen to the shows, right? Maybe you're gonna pop on one of these shows. But I do get what you're saying, Russ. I'm just kind of kidding. Okay, so to answer your question, it kind of, could work both ways as far as what you could do. First off, if you got a 4-star, some people want to get rid of those 4 stars. I look at it like, some of them are okay because it's, obviously if it's a true feedback, if it's not a review, then they got to stay anyway. It has to, right? And some people have mixed feelings about this. They're like, well, you're removing some feedbacks that, necessarily they should have stayed, even though they were a review, but you're having them removed. And, I get it. But you know what? You got to do what you're comfortable with and what you feel is going to be beneficial to you, your customers, and your business. All right. So I'm just going to kind of give you a quick little run through. And I've talked about this with, and I mentioned that in the beginning here of that first email that I read. It really goes down to, or comes down to, the feedback/review system that I put in place, which has been working really, really well. I'm building up my feedback score and I'm getting reviews on products. So, again, if you guys are listening to that, not you, Russ, I'm sure you already have, but if you haven't, you probably want to go and listen to it as well. But the link to that is theamazingseller.com/email, and you'll go ahead and you'll see kind of how that all works, and you'll listen to that podcast and you'll hear how I go about doing that. But here's your options. First off, you can just leave it as is and then still reach out to that particular customer and just say, hey, thank you so much for the review or the feedback. Not the review, the feedback. We really appreciate it and all that stuff. And Amazon treats feedback differently than reviews. Could you do us a small favor and just leave a similar comment or review on our product? And then you could just put the link inside there. Now, I know some people are a little iffy about the link, but the link is going directly to Amazon. It's not an external link, so I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. That's me personally. Okay. That's me. If you guys are worried about it, don't do it. All right. Or contact seller support and ask them. Ask 3 of them though. We've heard that before too. If you contact seller support, you get an answer, I would contact them again in another couple hours. You'll get someone else, ask them, and then do it again, and then record that stuff. Not necessarily audio, but like your email messaging back and forth, so that way you have proof of it. But me personally, I'm okay with putting a review link in there to say, hey, here's the link to the review or the product. Click it on there. It's going to go directly over to Amazon. I don't see why they would have a problem with that. You're directing people back to Amazon. You're just kind of like, taking that traffic and pulling it back into Amazon. So that's what I personally do, and I have not had an issue with that. But to say, should I leave the 4-star review? It depends. It depends how many reviews, or I'm sorry, feedbacks. We're talking about feedbacks here. Depending on how many feedback or feedbacks that you have left on your seller's account. If you're just starting, you might want to leave that. You can always come back to it and remove it once you start building up your reviews or your feedbacks. I keep saying reviews. It's feedback. So you can play with that, okay? Because if it's totally talking about the product, they will remove that, okay? But your other question was, how do you respond to the customer that just left that feedback? Well, what I do, and I've done this since the beginning, is every morning I'll go in, not just myself, I have my wife do it now, I used to do it, but basically log into your Seller Central account, click on where you see your feedback, customer feedback, you click on that, and then it'll show you all of the most recent, and then you just go all the way over to the right and you click on that person's name, and then it'll pull up the email window where you can go ahead and create a message. You can pick a subject line that they give you, and then you can write a message inside of there. That's how I do it. That's how I've done it from the beginning. That's how I do it now. So really, really simple. But again, you got to use your own discretion on that. 4-star isn't terrible. And again, it makes your account look authentic. It makes it look real. But if you see that, your score, your feedback score has went from a 5 to a 3, and some of the reason is because you got some 3 stars on there and they're all product reviews, you might want to go ahead and remove some of them. And the other thing that you might want to do is read them and see why people are saying that. Obviously, we want to make sure that our products are good, right? And if they're not good, they're going to tell us about it. But if it's something that is, maybe it's something that's not clear in your description or in your title or in the bullets, right, that you need to fix. We'll learn from that. So I'm not here saying that, you should just bury those feedbacks. I'm saying you should learn from them. But if it's a feedback that you can get rid of and learn from, then in my estimation, it's okay. Okay. So I hope that that's answered your question. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Again, like I said, I just go into the my Seller Central account. I look at the feedback for the day or the day before, and I'll click on the person's name that left it. And then from there, I'll just email them through that. And that's as simple as it is. All right. So I hope that's helped. Good luck to you. And I'll definitely consider that feedback that you gave me in the suggestion that you gave me in the old suggestion box. So thanks again, Russ. All right. So let's go ahead and listen to one more question and I'll give you my answer.
Hi, Scott. It's Elliot in the UK. I'd just like to congratulate you on the show, buddy. I've learnt loads since following this podcast, so keep up the good work. I've got a quick question. Hopefully, you'll get the chance to answer this on one of your Ask Scott sessions. Basically, it's surrounding product giveaways. Now, I know there's been a lot of noise about this recently, and I've read certain things on blogs about terms of service changes with Amazon that are basically not looking favourably upon product giveaways. I was considering doing one and just wondered whether, in light of the new terms of service and the changes that Amazon make, whether I should actually declare up front with Amazon that I'm thinking of doing a giveaway. I mean, you've mentioned several times, it's Amazon's playground and we need to play by their rules. And the last thing I'd want to do is jeopardise my selling account. So would you recommend or advise that it's a good idea to maybe send an email to Seller Central support and say, I'm planning to give away 100 units for honest, impartial reviewers, and basically make Amazon aware of, the intention to do a giveaway? If perhaps you could give your comments, feedback, opinion on this, Scott, be much appreciated. And I look forward to your future podcasts. Thanks, mate.
Hey, Elliot in the UK, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for the question, and thanks for tuning in as well. I appreciate that. This is a very, very hot topic right now, and I think it's getting a little bit too much attention. I think it's one of those things that makes news, right? It makes headlines, and there are people out there abusing reviews and review groups and all of that stuff. But I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to probably do a complete episode on this as well, and just give my thoughts on it. And we can just kind of point back to that particular episode, because I don't believe that anything has changed for me personally, because I'm not abusing the system. And you can interpretate the TOS, the terms of service. You can look at them any way that you want, and you can kind of read them any way you want. But it clearly says in there that you can't abuse reviews or giveaways, right? And you have to be clear that you want them to leave an unbiased review. Right? We want an honest review, whether it's good or bad. We don't want to be persuading them. And you don't want to abuse it, meaning you're going to give 100 units away every single day or every week. Some people say that, they're going to do it until they get slapped. Me personally, I think that in order to launch a product successfully, I think that you do need to get a base set of reviews. And I think the way to do that is the way that I've done it right from the beginning, and that's to do a giveaway. And the giveaway could be done with 20 units a day, 10 units a day for 5 days or 4 days, or mix it up and do two days worth of promotions and then skip 3 days and then do another 2, however you want to do it. But for me, I'm not doing that initial review or that initial, blast of product promotions. I'm not doing that necessarily to get a ton of ranking from that. I'm doing it for reviews. And when I get the reviews, then I'm able to, start ranking for keywords because I'm using pay-per-click. And then once I start using pay-per-click, I'm starting to rank for keywords. And then once I start ranking for keywords, the reviews are there as a conversion mechanism. That's what the reviews are there for, in my belief, okay, and my strategy, okay? Because I know that if I have 2 reviews and I get 100 people to come to my listing, I might only convert 5 people, right? But if I have 100 reviews and that same set of people come, I might convert 10 of those, right? Because it's It's human nature, social proof. We want to see that the product is getting a good rating, and by having reviews, you're able to do that. So in the beginning stages, when you get that base, that foundation of reviews, those are just there to kind of get the ball rolling. Then you start getting organic sales, then you start getting organic reviews, and life is good, right? I mean, then that's the way that it takes a life on of its own. So that's my thoughts on that. All right. And again, we could talk hours about this back and forth with other people saying that they still think they should, give out, 300 units at a clip, and to each its own. Okay. But for me personally, the review game, it's still the same as it ever was. You definitely have to follow the TOS, which to me is the way that I believe that is the right way to do it, is to, yes, in the beginning, it's okay to do an initial blast of some kind, not a huge blast, but something to kind of get yourself going. And then from there, you need to make sure that the review groups that you're giving these to understand the TOS, and they understand that they have to leave in there that they received this product at a discount, and they are leaving their unbiased review. Okay, so that needs to be put in there. Now, if it makes you feel better and you want to contact Amazon, then I would say do it. Okay, but again, I'll go back to, you want to contact 3 different agents because you'll probably get 3 different answers, but you might get 3 of the same. They might all say, yeah, that's fine, no problem. But definitely want to record that stuff if you're going to go down that path. But me personally, my launch process has not changed much. Nothing with reviews really, other than I don't really focus on doing huge giveaways. I just do one initial kind of phase of the promotions, and then from there I start with pay-per-click, and I just ramp that up, and I kind of go through that channel. So I hope that that's helped. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in here, and also for submitting your question all the way from the UK, which is awesome. I love it when we get questions from international listeners. It's really, really cool. So guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this episode of Ask Scott. Another great episode that I enjoyed doing because I love doing this. You guys know that I love sitting around talking about this stuff, whether it's here, whether it's in person, and we can go ahead and sit down like we did in Texas. Had about 40 of you in Texas, and we sat down and we talked about all of this stuff. Whether it's at a little coffee shop in North Carolina that I met up with 4 other TASers, or whether it's on a hangout that I do on a live workshop, which I should probably mention that. If you guys have not came to one of my live workshops, I'm going to be doing another one really soon. So you can register for that at theamazingseller.com/workshop. And I hang out there, and we do some live Q&A at the end. And I also go through the 5 phases to launching your products. So that's going to pretty much wrap up this session. Once again, guys, I really do appreciate each and every one of you for making this show a success all the way around, because it's helping people like yourself. It's helping me grow my business. It's helping me reach more people that are like-minded and connecting other people. It's just really, really awesome. And I thank each and every one of you. So guys, remember, I'm here for you. I believe in you. I'm rooting for you, but you have to, come on, say it with me. Let's say it together. We always have to do this, right? Take action. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next episode.